got no issues, you my shade butter, baby. I can't forget you, you a special kind of lady. Cause when I'm with you, girl, you know that you amaze me. Shade butter, save me, my shade butter, baby. Ooh, we got no issues, you my shade butter, baby. I had to get you, you a special kind of lady. And when I'm with you, girl, I can't forget you.
I can't forget you.
When you say
Hey, she was like, hey boy, what it do? I think I got.
Hey, everybody, it is me, Jamie, your favorite Christian life coach, and we are here for our Jay's Morning Coffee Friday edition. And you know what that means? It is Testimony Fridays. And today we have Prototype with Prototype Kingdom Podcast. And of course, you guys know I'm going to have him introduce himself because I don't do intros. Hey, Prototype.
Hey, thank you for having me on. Oh, Prototype Kingdom Podcast, man. Believer, a father, husband, um, a man of the community. That's kind of how I'll go about it. So, yeah.
A man of the
That's-
community. That's what I'm talking about. You said, so I know we're shooting this kind of late. It's not my normal time. And so do you coach a team?
yeah, I've been coaching for about 20 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's a long time.
yeah.
You,
It's one of those things where when I first started playing sports, one of the things my coaches would say to me or say to the group is, "Hey, you got to give it back one day."
mm,
So I always knew at some
mm.
point, whatever them coaches were investing in me, I had to give it back on the back end. So
And you actually did it. Like I know sometimes people say that and you're like, okay. And then, some people never follow through with doing that. But that's dope that you actually said, no, I'm gonna follow through with that.
I mean, it's part of the duty. But
That's
I would say most men, fall the duty, and we do our due diligence to do that, right? I think.
right.
I think. I don't know. I think from my peer group, right? Well, my peer group might be different from a lot of other people that's in the world.
Outside.
Yeah.
They outside.
But I'm also
So,
not friends with anybody that hasn't played any sports. So there's that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So y'all are all athletes.
Yeah. I don't really like how people like remember people from like high school and stuff like that. I don't remember anybody I ever like.
Hmm.
If I didn't play sports with you, I don't remember you.
Oh, wow. That seemed kind of biased.
I don't know. Not really.
You weren't interested,
It's not an
or you
interest
just
thing,
didn't
but
have to remember them.
no, it's more of a when you play sports with somebody, they become family, right? It's y'all
Mm,
it's now a brotherhood. You know what I mean? Y'all did
yes.
something that sucked together. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ran miles or sprints or had to endure something traumatizing together. So because y'all both did something y'all hate, but was able to encourage each other through it, um, it's kind of like that blood, sweat, and tears. You form family.
Right. Yeah. It's a different level of relationship, right? Because I think sometimes you do more with the people you do like with sports with than you do with your family sometimes as far as like enduring and going through
Right. You
pain
spend a
and
lot of time with people you play sports with, a lot of time, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then like going to school was just going to school.
Right. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. So I'm interested. So we met, on a podcast panel and um and you came in last week with partial of your testimony. In my mind, you were just talking about change, but there was things that you had touched on that I thought was phenomenal. So, but I want to start with like, how did you become a believer and what did that journey look like? So you can start, from the very beginning, or you could just go where you want to go with this part. So
Um, well, I grew up in a church, right? So
you
like
grew
my grandmother would take me to church every Sunday. Um, all through adolescence or whatever. So I basically grew up in the church. Um, my mother wasn't as religious as my grandmother, so it wasn't like I had to go to Bible study. It was just a Sunday thing for me growing up. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
I've made some friends there and got used to it, and we hear the word and went to the youth church and all that kind of stuff. So those things were indoctrinated in me. My grandmother used to do a trip every Easter or Resurrection Sunday to see this play um, where they would reenact the life of Christ. You know what I mean? So that always played a whole a role. Um, so yeah, man, I just always kind of been one. It was just something that was just installed, and then I didn't really take it serious until I was about probably 21, 22.
What caused you to finally take it serious? Like what happened where you were like, no, I got to take this a little bit more serious than what I've been doing.
Uh, G. Craig Lewis, the truth beyond hip hop. After
Really?
after I seen we in college they showed part one, no part two. Then we went back and seen part one, and it had the whole campus by storm. Like you know what I mean? Like everybody's seen it. Like we all watched it as like the Black Student Union, right? And we watched it, man,
Hmm.
and everybody was just so blown away. And it had such an impact on so many people's lives that we was just like people was throwing away CDs. I had like Rockaware clothes that I like threw in the trash. Like you know what I
Are
mean?
you
Like
serious?
oh yeah, man. It was heavy. It was heavy. Like I went through a whole stint of super Christian, man. And it was just it really changed you. Like it's one of those things where you just felt eerie. Like you ever walk around and just felt like I don't know, like everything's emptied out of you. Like I just felt eerie after I watched that, man. And it was just crazy. It had a huge impact, man. And that's when I started taking it serious.
Do you, and I do understand what you're saying. It's kind of like you have this, it's not, I don't want to say like you wake up, but it's kind of like the Matrix. Like you finally realize that things that you have been, the way you've been living life is not quite the way that God had wanted you to do it, right? And so it, that emptying of the old person
Hmm.
to develop this new person. So, all right, so you throw away everything, you start taking it seriously, but what did that look like? What did taking that seriously look like for Prototype?
Um, it definitely wasn't like the music. I was way more helpful. I think I was way more I was a happier person. I came off I
Mm,
was a more positive person, I'll say. You know what I mean? Like so before that, I wasn't as positive as a person. I mean, I always had like a sense of pride about myself, but I always had a sense of I can do more. Like I always was optimistic person, but as
okay.
far as
Okay.
being overall cheerful, it definitely made me overall like a pleasant person, nice. I turned into like a real nice
Gotcha.
guy.
Yeah. So you said prior to that you were not, a very pleasant person. What caused that? Like what do you want to talk about that? Is that something we could talk
Yeah,
about?
we could talk about that. Um,
Okay, okay. All right. So,
it was a lack of trust for a lot of people, right? Because I didn't necessarily have a background where it developed a trustworthy childhood or a trustworthy um growing up. Like I trusted my grandmother and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like I got in a lot of trouble as a youth, you know what
mm,
I mean? Like going to I don't know what people call it, but like juvenile detention centers and stuff like that. I did that for a while from like 11 to 15. It was in and out of juvenile detention centers and that kind of weird stuff.
why? I guess why were you so angry? Like what? Why was you so angry?
It's interesting you say that. Yeah, why was I so angry? Because I think, I mean, to make it simple, because I didn't have a dad around, right? I mean, to make it simple,
Mm,
I didn't
mm.
have a dad around, and I was like super pro black as a kid too. You know what I mean? Like I was that kid that would be like that wouldn't say the Pledge of Allegiance, like that kind of stuff in the morning. Like,
Oh, I like you. Like I like
you know what I'm
that.
saying? Like
We're not doing that.
I
They not
stopped
too
eating
free
pork
over here.
at 9.
Oh, okay. You were serious. Like you were a
Yeah,
serious.
yeah. Like, cause I seen Malcolm X at 9, and not eating pork was
Changed your life.
was my stance to the man. Like, I'm never eating pork again. Like, you know what I'm saying?
To the movement, right? Look, I'm
Yeah.
trying to fix my bang. Don't judge me, okay?
But
Because
that
there
was
we
my
go. Okay.
stance.
So do you feel like when you watch certain black movies, with strong male characters that you kind of because you didn't have a father, kind of looked at those as like a model type situation in a
Oh, for
sense because
sure.
you just said you finished. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I can't name any movies like that, but
You named one.
I mean, I
Malcolm
never.
X was a good one.
Well, yeah, Malcolm X was a good one, right? Those rebellious ones, right? I always wanted to be the strong character. So, like, yes, that was inspiring to me. Um,
You said rebellious, but I mean,
yeah, 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 yeah. Like, I was rebellious as heck, stubborn.
okay, I
You know,
got
that
you.
was, didn't like authority kind of a situation, right? You wasn't my daddy, so you can't tell me nothing.
Oh, you were one of those kids?
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. But sports helped it a lot, though. Like, the whole reason I played sports was to take that aggression out. Like, they were like, "Yeah, play football." And I'm like, "Well, I can hit people and not get in trouble." Yes. So that was really one of my driving forces to even play sports.
So, did your mom like ever have a discussion with you about your dad and kind of like go through the why, like or anything? You never met him. Did you ever meet
No,
him?
I have a weird I have a weird story, man. So, um, I'm named after one person, and that's not biologically my dad.
Oh.
Yeah. So when she's telling me the why, like I met my biological father when I was like 8 or 9. So the person I'm named after, he was trash. But
Mm.
when I got to a point where like, my mom dated, and a lot of times like my mom would take me out on dates, and that's how I would eat some nights with her. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
Oh, you live like that life for real. Like this is okay.
yeah, like
I
dudes
got
would take
you.
her out, but they taking both of us out. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
no.
saying? And I just
Look,
knew the drill. Like, hey, let me just get a hamburger. I'm gonna sit here and shut up, eat this hamburger. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
go on about my life. You know what I mean? So one particular day, sh- I'm thinking it's the same routine. It was slightly different because this time there was another kid in the car, and I was just like, oh, all right, well, bet, right? And
That's the way to talk to.
I'm like, oh, all right, well, bet. And later on, like after that date, um, my mom's like, how would you feel if this guy was your dad? I'm like, I don't care. I need one anyway. And she was like, no, but what if he's your actual biological dad? I'm like, I'm 8. I don't know what that means, but sure. Yeah, like we could go with it. And then more and more I realized like that kid was actually like my half brother, you know what I'm saying? Like it
Are
was
you serious?
yeah, and
Like
like yeah, it was kind of funny.
I'm only because there's kids that go through that right now. Like I am sitting here, I can't say too much, but I know personally a few kids that are living that life, like where they eat when mom goes out. Like she
Yeah.
takes them on the date with
Yeah. Truth.
because I just saw them and they said, I think one of the boyfriends got in trouble and she said, oh, there goes there goes our meals. Like there goes I was
Like
like,
let me see who's gonna feed us today. All right,
yeah,
start making them calls, mom.
she said it.
Yeah, true.
I was like, she was like, we like that one. Like, like he took us to expensive places. I was like, what? Why is this the conversation? And it's so funny that you're saying that because
Mhm.
you don't really realize how it affects a kid until they start growing up though, right? And I'm telling
Well,
this person,
you know what it did? It made me detached. I don't like I'm a real detached person. Like I can easily like sever relationships.
yeah,
No matter how deep we've gone, like I know at any given point I could just be like, all right, let me just we done and not look back. You know what I'm saying? It won't really affect me like that.
that's crazy. You got me over here thinking because I could actually see that with with them. Like I could see that they are able to just their cutoff game is real.
It's solid, yeah, yeah.
At a young age already though, where I'm like, that doesn't bother you? They're like, mm-mm. And
Nah,
I'm
cause you get
like,
used to it. You get used to it, and that's just how it's been. I mean, my mom was 17 when she had me, so it was what it was, right? So
okay, so she was young,
yeah,
young. So like she had to grow up with you.
yeah, yep.
Mm. How so I mean, how did that really affect you? Like I know we could see the anger. So
Yo, so I haven't
because
spoken
I
about that in a long time, to be honest. Right? I really did harbor a lot
right.
of anger. I was an angry kid, like facts. Like, and I remember we talked about that change. I've been away from that so long at this point, of that raw anger that I used to have, that
Yeah.
hate. Like, I forgot about it.
Really?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
was an angry kid. Like I was mad. I was very angry.
Just like you felt like rejected. Do you think like rejection had to do a lot of it and then disappointment, because there was never any real
Um,
consistency but the inconsistency, right? Like you knew that people were not going to stay around. Like you knew that was the only consistent thing. You see what I'm saying?
no,
Like
it wasn't. I didn't think of anything consistently, but uh, I would take it personal. Like for instance, like if there was another kid and I knew he had a dad, I would take it personal to show his dad that his son's uh is weak. You know what I'm saying? Like so, if we both play ball and I see this kid as a dad, I'm gonna hit him so hard so he can go over there and cry to his dad, and his dad could like give him a talk like, "Yeah, you weak. You let him just demolish you." Like you know what I mean? So
proto type.
yeah, I was. It was. Yeah, I was petty. I was petty.
It's funny, but it's not funny but it is funny when you think about it because you're like, I mean, that makes sense. You were trying to make sure you were really angry. Okay, so you get saved,
Mhm.
right? Officially get saved, and you feel some joy that comes in. You start to change your life, right? Um, like where did forgiveness come in? Did you begin to forgive anybody or like what was that process like for you?
I tried. Yeah, you try to forgive people, but when you realize they don't change, then it's hard to keep them around. I tried for a long time to
Okay.
forgive and accept people, but at some point you just nah.
So let me ask a question. This is real because when you talked about a little bit, you said that you were in special ed classes, right?
Mhm.
Right. And that do you okay, do you feel like that was because maybe you were targeted and necessarily you didn't really need special ed classes or maybe like because your mom was a single mom and you were a young black boy who was somewhat troubled that maybe they just placed you there per se or do you feel like you were really struggling?
Uh, to be 40 and to evaluate that, um, I look at that as I probably needed to be placed there. Like I said, I was very
Okay.
angry. I was very attention needed. I didn't get the attention or the nurturing from my mom or a dad, right? So
Hmm.
I didn't get none. I didn't
Right.
get none of that. So I would seek out attention in the wrong ways. Um, It wasn't like my mom ever sat down and was reading books with me or anything like that. She was working or doing whatever a 17, 18, 20-year old does. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't helping me learn or try to read anything. But I know it was a long line of I'm tired of getting called because you're acting up at school. So
Mm,
special ed was a way you could throw him in there, and now I don't have to get these calls anymore. You know what I'm saying?
gotcha. Right. So
They're
more
no
of
longer
like,
calling me, so I think the problem's over. But really, it's really just sitting me in purgatory because they're not. I'm not learning anything. No, they're not calling you for bad behavior, but I'm not acting up anymore either because the kids in special ed don't have any sense. Like they're really special. I didn't. I wasn't special where I needed to really be there. Like you know what I mean. Like I wasn't slobbering snot bubbles or anything like that. Like these kids really had some problems, right? So like going from the regular bus with regular kids and then going to like the short bus, and now it's like the one thing about the short bus though is it was like curbside. You know what I mean? Like they came to your house and picked you up, dropped you off at the door. You didn't have to walk to the bus stop. It was always just like
there were so
limousine
many
service.
benefits, right?
Yeah,
So I look at it like this, and I hate to say this. I feel like you probably got the nurturing and good attention in that classroom because you
no,
probably were able. No, you
mm-mm.
didn't get any.
I
Were
didn't get
they
any.
treating you like that too?
No, I was because I wasn't as like more other kids needed more attention than I did. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So they would just give me busy work. So let's say I'm in the second grade, they'll give me first grade math, first grade work.
and then
I can
that's
do,
it.
and that's it. I'll just like knock out this work. Oh, this is easy. This is easy. This is easy. So in my mom's eyes, she sees straight A's at this point now, right? Because they're giving me work from a year or two behind. I'm not being challenged mentally. So she's seeing good grades and they're not calling her. Oh, this is working. This is a
Right.
hit.
And it's not. It's not working.
Yeah, it didn't challenge my brain at all. Like it was just like, and like I said, I had no business acting up in a room full of retarded kids. And I mean that
Why would
literally. Like
yeah.
they were really like that, like or couldn't speak or like had these other wild syndromes. So it's kind of like you put somebody in that situation, you're like, dang, like, but that was pretty much my education for a long time
Wow.
was
So
being in those kind of situations.
currently I've been working with mentally challenged adults for what, 16 years maybe. So I go in when I used to be a case manager, but now I'm a supervisor. So I go in and I help them do regular life things like wash their clothes, make their bed, and all of that type of stuff. And
Hmm.
then when I worked at the school, I did IEP. I did work with I wouldn't say that they were special ed, but they needed help, right? So I did IEP for English classes. And I did work with some special ed kids, but I worked more with the kids that were like you. They really didn't need to be in there. They just had behavior issues, you know what I'm saying? And so I worked with kids that that acted like you did when you were in school. That's why I kind of thought that was funny what you said that cuz we had a clear understanding, me and those kids, but the people would be like, "No, they really need help." And I'm like, "No, their home life is different. You don't understand their home life."
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, it's good.
it
I got
wasn't.
them.
Yeah, like I was a latchkey kid at home. At home by myself most of the time. Grew up as an only child, so I was at home like or outside, and it was crazy as far as we would go away from the house, as long as we was at home. But I know what time my mom got home. So as long as you got home before that time, I was outside like roaming, like you know what I mean. Like there have been
All
times where
day.
like yeah, all day, right? And then there'd be times like I would go over to some kid's house and be like, yo, don't you got somewhere to be? Like, is anybody at home? Like, you know what I mean? Or I would like kind of hang out over their crib around 6 o'clock. Like I was so if I always knew that white people like the athletic kids on the team,
Say it
right?
one more
So
time.
yeah, they like the token,
The token black kid.
the
Just
token
say
black
it.
kid,
It's
right?
okay.
So when I would go over, I would like if I had white kids on the team and I knew their parents liked me, I would go over there for dinner, but they wouldn't know. I mean, they kind of caught on. Like he always show up around 6 o'clock. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Prototype, you was out here
It was
surviving. You're like,
outside,
I
like
got a plan.
yeah, like what's for dinner? Like, and they be like, oh, we're not having nothing special. We're having manwich. I ain't never had manwich before. Can I get some? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, at least there was a plan, and I'm not saying at least there was a plan, but I mean I get it because there's so many kids even now that still do that. Like they still have that. That's their schedule because their parents literally are not home or they work all day or they're young parents, right?
mm,
So still selfish in a way. I
very.
very selfish. And so but just to hear it from an adult like that really, because I've never talked to my kids now that they're grown. You get what I'm saying? I haven't seen them since I left the school. So I
Mm,
don't know how they're doing or what life is like, but I did have one kid where even now I'm kind of like I wonder if he's okay. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like he was
yeah.
one of my favorites, but he was also the baddest one out the whole group. He got a job for the first time, and as soon as he got that job, I said, do not buy any weed. Right? This is what I said.
Oh,
Don't do it. Because I felt it in my spirit. I was like, don't do it. And he did. He went and got him, some to sell and he got in trouble. He
mm,
did. He did. He automatically. But it was the best thing that actually happened to him because he ended up going to the other school where they did everything on the computer and he actually graduated because he wasn't going to graduate if he would have stayed inside the high school for sure
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
at all. They had him at a zero.
they had
Go
them out
ahead.
of zero what?
0.85 GPA and as a junior.
Yeah. No, no, I never got into like selling drugs or anything like that.
No, that's good because some kids, because they're latchkey, it's easy for that to be their.
Yeah, but I found um so the thing about it, my grandfather gave me ways to make money. And my grandmother
Did
was an
he?
absolute hustler. Like my grandmother and I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. And they were
Okay.
like my grandmother was the type I seen her. She used to work at a bank and then bank hours. And then she catered a wedding and she for that same wedding made the brides the wedding gowns and the bridesmaids dresses and the male's vests. Like she did that all in 1 week. You know what I'm saying? So my grandmother was like an absolute savage when it came
Hustler.
to yeah, making ends meet, right? So her and my aunt like used to just be in there shucking corn and this and that, right? So and they would give me, you know how old people always try to give you gems, you know how you can make some money? You go down to the grocery store and you push people's carts to the car, right? So I was like, I tried whatever. So
Oh,
I always had little ways of trying to make some extra money. You know what I mean? So I always had that about me, but I never really had to turn to drugs to do it. I used to
good.
like
Like
sweep the
that.
floor at the there was a pizza shop that was around the corner from my house, and I would sweep the floor, and that's how I would like also they would give me like a slice of pizza or a couple dollars or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
that
you
was
were a hustler too. Then you were like
yeah.
you were gonna make life work in real
Yeah,
life.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like and I mean it was I always had those options, right? And then it was like I'm from Pittsburgh, so there was snow. So instead of like sled riding, I would like shovel snow. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how like I made my like
And then
first
make
hundred
money that
dollars when I
way.
was like 11. Huh?
When you were 11, you made $100. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money to an 11-year-old.
Yeah. So when I did it, I asked my mom to take me to the store. And I went into the store and I bought like a new comforter, a new lamp, a rug. You know what I'm saying? And then I came back out. Like I went complete shopping, right? And I came back. I had these little silk sheets or whatever. And she's like, how much money did you have? Did you have like $100? And I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh snap! Like, how'd you do that? Shoveling these snow, like. But I decked my room up, brought a lava lamp, everything. Like it was fly.
How old were you? You said 11. That's when
I
you
was
did that,
11.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
silk sheets and lava lamps.
Yeah.
That was
Yep. Truth.
I like that. You had style even then.
Oh
Started off
yeah.
young.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because I was thinking about little girls though. So I'm bringing the
Oh,
girls over with that.
already?
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to get them over.
How old were you when
I was 12.
you were 12?
Yep.
For real?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's too young.
Oh, for sure. But my mom was at school and she was at work.
How did that affect you? Like, how did okay? Because see, I was 15, and I thought that was just entirely too young. I felt like I shouldn't have done that. But 12?
Yeah.
Do
I
you even know
always,
what you did you even know what you was doing?
when little boys are generally introduced to like porn when they're like 6.
What?
Yeah. Like little boys get
What you
you
mean?
because it be that uncle or that cousin or you know what I mean. They start hanging out like so. My cousins were older than me, 15 or whatever. So they was already in the mix. So I just hung out with them most of the
I'm
time.
disturbed. So you okay? So you kind of knew what you were doing because you had already been. That's so young though.
Yeah. Why you think I want silk sheets though?
Silk sheets and lava lamps.
Yeah, I'm just trying to set the
I don't know how
mood.
to take that. Like I just
I was trying to set the mood. I the girl I started with, she was like 18. So she thought I was older
wait
though.
a
She thought
minute.
listen, she thought I was older. So when she came over, she said she seen like all these like sports pictures that said like 95. You know what I'm saying? She was like, "Wait a minute, this says 1995. Like, how old are you?" Right? And I was like, "Oh, I'm a ringer." Like, cause I was lying. Like, 'cause she thought I told her I was 17, but I looked old for a 12-year-old.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So okay, so she didn't do it willingly knowing you were young. Did she ever find out your real age at all?
Yeah, 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 yeah. We're still friends like now, but so
You
we laugh
laugh at
about it. We laugh about it all the time. But yeah, like one day she called my house and I wasn't there, and she took the opportunity to ask my mom how old I was, and my mom was like, "Wait a minute, how old are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm 18." She's like, "Oh, you too old for my son." Like, and she's
her.
like, "Well, how old is he?" And she's like, "Is he like 15?" My mom was like, "Well, I ain't gonna tell you how old he is, but you definitely too old for it."
So she's in lava lamps,
True,
ready for the 18-year-old. That's the 18-year-old bedroom.
ain't it?
Yeah, like you did right. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Had him fooled.
Okay, wait. So when you were in college, when you changed your life, right? Did you stop having sex
Yeah.
or no?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
That was a part
did.
of yeah, that was a part of it. Yeah.
What was that like? Like what was that? Because you started
Um,
at 12. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Like, was it hard to shut that off?
No, I
Like,
didn't wanna no, it wasn't. It wasn't hard. It was because I felt so different when it happened.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, once I got that revelation, I didn't wanna touch anything remotely close to sin.
wow.
Yeah, like, it was
I mean, that's just interesting to hear you say that because
I mean, I
people get
always knew
saved
it
and
was
they still want to
wrong.
do this.
I knew it was wrong from the
Oh,
Sundays I would go to, like, all through this time, I was still Sunday in church, but it was like, what's a Sunday compared to the rest of the week when you acting a fool?
right. I mean, you was saved, but you wasn't sanctified.
Right. We'll go with that, whatever. No, I
You
literally got baptized like 3 times, like, literally. I don't know how many I might have said the sinner's prayer probably like 7.
Why why did you get baptized 3 times? Like, you just felt like you needed to do it again? You just
Yeah,
wasn't getting it
y'all.
right, or what?
Because I did it when I was like, I did it when I was young. So I had a whole plan for my sexual behavior actually, like when I was that young, right? When I was like 12, yeah, I was like, man, well, I lost my virginity. I just need to get maybe like four more girls, and I'll be cool. I can get married after that. I just need four more. Five seems like a good number for me, and I'll be cool, But
You had a cap.
yeah, my
You had
cat
a
was
cap. I mean, like, you knew.
yeah. I was like, after five, I could be cool. That's enough. I don't need how many you going. Five is about enough. I'm good on five. So I'm expecting I mean, five just came so fast, and it wasn't enough. But
But did you stop? No.
not until I had that revelation at 21. That's when I stopped. So even that though only lasted about what,
He's
a
from.
year or two, year and a half.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
there's a reason why we're believers, right? Because we can't do it.
We can't do it. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, you're right. When you talked about change, and I guess I want to get to that too. Like, you said that the teacher had told you that you weren't going to make it. So what changed? Like,
So
how
listen,
what
no, listen to that, right? When did I tell you I changed? When did I tell you I got saved? 21, right?
21, right?
Where would I
Yeah,
be at 21?
college.
In college. So from freshman year,
Uh-huh.
angry, whatever, doing what he was doing, save my junior year, graduate when I'm 22. So yeah, I changed.
Oh. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying? It went from one character to now I'm wearing a tie in class and I'm sitting at the front. Like, you know what I mean? It's everything changed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So freshman year, he's looking at me like, "You're not going to make it." I don't know, and he was like, "I had other black students before, and they ain't act like you, right?"
Was that in high school, or was
Now
that
this is
in
college.
freshman in college?
This is
He said it
college.
to
Yeah.
you in freshman. Okay, freshman year in college, and he told you weren't gonna make it. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, he just looked at you and was able to tell or something? Like, oh,
I'm an
and you proved him wrong.
angry jock. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really just there to play football. Yeah, I was majoring in computer engineering, but he didn't think I was going to make it.
And you did. So, like, you got saved right on time,
Right
really, and
on
it and
time.
it
Right
right
on
on
time. Right on time.
because now you get to say, "I'm an engineer.
Right.
This is what I do. This
Yeah.
is my life." Alright, so how did you meet your wife? Like, how did that process happen?
It's funny. We debate about this all the time. I say she hit me up on Facebook, but she says I hit her up.
So
But
what had happened was
I I don't know. I say I think she friend requested me, and then she looked familiar to me. So I was, I hit her up like, "Hey, what's up? How you been? Like, how you like it?" And she's like, "I'm fine. Do I know you?" Like, and I'm guessing you do know me because girls just don't be friend requesting dudes like that unless I know them. So, but
so
she said
y'all
I friend
both
requested her.
it sounds like to me y'all both initiated it in some way. Like, she may have friend requested you, but you took the initiative to go, "Hmm,
She ain't bad. I'll speak to her, and that's kind of just kept going
that's
from
how it
there.
started?" Okay.
Yeah,
When you like, how old were you then? Was it out of college, or was it
yeah, yeah. It was 24, 20, 24.
24,
Yeah,
24 years old?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you said you have 4 kids, right?
I have four. Me and her have two.
Wait, you had
Yeah.
kids in college?
Yes. Right
You was
before
out
that change. Right before that change. Yeah.
you was out there giving donations for free?
I mean, I had my fun. I had some fun. I had some fun. You know, I made some bad decisions and I made some good ones.
Solid.
So like, I actually thought I couldn't even get get somebody pregnant for real, because I've been doing it for so long and didn't get anybody pregnant, and then end up getting somebody pregnant, and I'm not with her, but then it was a whole limbo kind of a situation, and then eventually I'm like, I remember I should marry this girl, and in that process, get her pregnant again, so I'm engaged to her. But then I was like, dang, I'll be miserable. I came so far, and if I stay with this girl, I'm not gonna. She don't deserve the me I know I can be. I can't. So either I let go and become the person I'm supposed to be, and give her the opportunity to meet somebody that's gonna love her for who she is, and me vice versa, or I could stay in a situation we can make each other miserable.
So this was the first baby mama.
Yeah, we don't call each other that, but yeah,
Okay, I mean the first mother of your kids.
yeah,
Let me put some respect on her name. Cause I
yeah,
mean
yeah,
that's yeah, right?
yeah, yeah.
So so you had a decision to make. So you had gotten saved and you could have married this person,
Hmm.
but you knew that it just was it
It wasn't
wasn't.
gonna. Yeah, yeah, nah. Mm-mm. I was gonna be
Y'all
miserable.
y'all live two different lifestyles in a
N
sense.
No, it wasn't that, it's just she wasn't what I wanted.
God.
She didn't deserve the best version of me, you know what I'm saying, and to a degree, she was very volatile, so she would destroy she didn't understand the work I've put into myself to be here at that
Mm,
age, right? Like, if we go back to what I said, being an angry child, doing juvenile stuff and special ed and working my way to getting a degree to, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So at this point, I'm thinking like, oh, this it's only up from here. She don't deserve that version of me because she's too volatile.
Right. So she probably would have been somebody that would trigger you to stay or go back into the state that you had just came out of, right? Like
Yeah,
you oh,
yeah.
okay. And it was so crazy is how you were able to identify that though.
Well, the thing about it, right? So although I didn't get the best education, I got unlimited amount of counseling through that whole
Mhm.
process because they give special ed kids,
Yeah,
counselors, and so my situation was more about life and dealing with people. I
right.
learned how to deal with people, you know what I'm saying, and at weird levels because if you dealt with people in special ed, everybody's not sane. And you got to learn how
No,
to manage these different personalities because this person can flip at any given time.
anytime.
You know what I
It's so
mean? And
insane.
it's crazy. Like you like, dang, where's that come from? Or that's irrational as heck. So it's like you got a real life lesson. And then on top of that, I would get in trouble for the pettiest things. I felt like I always get the max penalty for the
Mhm.
pettiest stuff.
Mm,
That I had no business being in juvenile detention for fights. But
right.
as you're in there, with those kind of kids that are in there for selling drugs or actually doing actual crimes, stealing cars, blah blah blah. Like I'm 12 years old, 12, 13, 14 years old with these 18-year-old kids who's telling me
Right.
how they did this, 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 this. Well, since you're in here with this, you're going to go to boot camp. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, right? And I'm like, I don't want to accept that. And it's like you had even having a I'm free dream, right? You're in a cell. You go to sleep and you have a dream about being free, and then you wake up like, damn, I'm still in the cell.
I'm
Like
still
what I'm
here.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
still in
like
here. Like like I never wanted to feel that again. You know what I'm saying? So going through all those different transitions, right? And that was an interesting time for me and my mom because we didn't get along until I started getting in trouble that way. And then we became really close. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think
oh,
my mom liked me. Like when I first got arrested, she would come and visit me like every day. I'm like, wow, are you here?
cause she loves you.
But our relationship was so messed up
Yeah.
that I'm not I'm like, why are you here? I don't get it. I understand why grandma would be here. Well, I don't understand why you came back the second time or the third time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think like she just didn't know how to love you the way that you needed to be loved? Do you get what I'm saying? Like maybe
There
she
was a lot
thought
there was
by
a lot to it.
working.
There was a lot to it. I think she does what a lot of girls do. You know how girls only date guys that they're better than, and it's because they don't
Mm.
have to do that much work to, and that guy's going to worship the ground they walk on because they're normal, right? They're not doing nothing special, but they're doing just normal stuff, and he doesn't she doesn't have to change. Now, if she's to meet a guy with standards and this and that, he's going to force her to elevate herself. People don't want to change; it's
Mm.
too hard, right? It's kind of like girls necessarily don't like guys with fit bodies, right? They rather date a guy with a dad bod because you date a guy with a fit body, he's gonna like seriously, he's gonna make you change your eating habits. He's gonna make you work out. He's gonna make you like go run. He's gonna make you live a lifestyle that might seem too hard for you.
You know what? Like you got me thinking over here because I'm trying to think like, okay. I'm just going through the Rolodex of my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, or people that I know that are married, that have been in relationships, and the type of people that they have picked. And so, what you're saying, I can see that. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
I could see, mm, I could see the friend that has picked somebody who isn't, you know, up there. So she feels like she is a higher status mentally, or she just had to grow because he hasn't even grown. I see
Hmm.
that.
And he's and
That's
he's grateful
that.
to be with her, so he's gonna worship the ground
Yeah,
he walks on. So I mean, like my mom would like, she likes to come in as the knight in shining armor if you're in trouble. But what if you don't need that? Then she's like, "Well,
he
there's no
doesn't know what
use
to
for me."
do.
Yeah, she don't know what to do, right? So when I was in like serious detriment trouble, she's like, "Oh no, I gotta come save you." You know what I'm saying? And we ended up building a really great relationship, but it was more like a brother sister because at that point we're just like looking out for each other, and the love is real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
she gave me everything I needed, and I wasn't a bad kid after I got out of the situations. By the time I hit like high school, um, all I was focused on was football and going to college. I was still in
Right,
the special ed, but I was still focused on football and going to college. So I already seen what trouble looks like. I already seen, you
right,
know what I'm saying? I had no need to get into trouble because I already did all that from 12 to 15. I did that. So when I had the opportunity to play football again, I'm
let
like,
me.
oh, football's back. I'm here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
And then you said something earlier. You said that you felt like you got hard punishments for things that were not anything close to what was, which what everybody else was in there for. But do you think that like maybe God knew that you needed that hard punishment early
yes,
on, or it would be worse?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Does your, like, do you even know your real dad's characteristics? Like, is he angry? You get what I'm saying? Like, do you know if he has anger issues too, or
I don't know
you
him that
find
well.
anything out?
I don't know him
You
that
don't?
well.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I mean, he died before I could
So
really
like,
like.
oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry for
Yeah,
your loss. I'm sorry
nah,
that, yeah,
I wasn't sad at all. It's cool.
I got you. So, like for instance, I talked to my son. Okay, I'll give you a story. You ready?
Yeah,
Okay. So my son was 5, because I'll never forget this. He was 5 years old, and he just started lying for no reason, just lying. You get what I'm saying? Like
I've
everything,
been
I
there.
could see him taking a snack.
I've been there. I've been there. I
I
couldn't
could,
tell. I went through that phase where I couldn't tell the truth for the life of me. But go ahead. I couldn't. Even
yeah.
like when I was around that,
So
I couldn't. But go ahead.
I just didn't understand. I would see the snack in the hand, and I said, "Did you take that snack?" And he said, "What snack?" And I'd be like, "Bruh, it's right there." So I was like, Elijah, you cannot do that. You can't do that. So,
It wasn't
I
me.
always wanted to make sure that I never did the "you're just like your father." You get what I'm saying? But instantly, I was like,
Mm.
"Dang, his dad's lied like that." Like I would always say, "You, my son's father could pee in front of me on the floor, like you could see it and still see the wet spot," and he'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't never do that." But he would do it so smooth that you would be questioning
Like
whether or not
gaslighter.
that was actually his pee, right? You feel me? Smooth.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'd be like, it was so annoying. You know what I'm saying? So annoying. So I remember one time we were in the car and he gets the line again. You know what I'm saying? And I said, E. And I literally like had that flashback, like you was a liar too. Like talking about me. Like I used to be a smooth liar too. Okay. Before the
Mm.
Lord came and fixed me, I was a smooth liar. I remember sometimes I would lie so good that I would get in the car and be like, that was actually like, I don't know where that came from, but even I believe what I just said. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
that was how
Yeah.
good it was. So I had to go and be like, E, all right, look, it seems like we're dealing with some DNA issues because I'm a lie. You know what I'm saying? I had some lying problems back in the day, and your daddy had some lying problems back in the day. And I don't want you to adopt our bad behavior. You get what I'm saying? I
Mm.
don't want to punish you for something that I could see. Maybe you got this from me. Like maybe you got this from us because we both had the problem, right? So, and I said, I gave him the consequences. I was like, this was your dad's consequences for lying. And these were my consequences for lying. Cause I got in trouble at some point in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I got in lots of trouble too. And so I told him all the things that I did. And I said, now you have a choice. You feel me? Like you have a choice to either fight the thoughts that are coming into your little mind that tells you steal the snack or
Yeah.
lie to your mom or you know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? You could go down the same path that me and your dad did and probably be miserable because, like, we're old and we're trying to fix our lives.
I struggle with that even still, right? Because it's like sometimes lying is worth it. At what point is lying worth it, right? Well, when the police are involved, you don't tell the cops nothing, right? But you wanna be truthful. The right thing to do is to be truthful. But when police are around, you don't want to tell them nothing. Make them people do their job. So it's kind of like you got to find that balance.
Yeah, it's sometimes just like I just don't know. I mean, it's not. I mean, you just say I plead the fifth, right? Like I don't know anything. Like there's nothing that I could tell you right now. I'm not
But
quite
you do
sure.
know, and you lying.
Yeah, you feel me? I get it. You know, I understand. But see, okay, so I'm overly truthful. Okay. Like I've called the police on myself. I remember one time this lady had made me real, real mad. And I started to like like you know how you start to blank out.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm about to call the police on myself. I said, because if you say one more word, when I get done with you, I'm gonna go to jail anyways, right? You feel me? Like, so I'm gonna just go ahead because you're not gonna stop and I'm not gonna stop and you're not giving me my money back. And I'm not leaving till you do.
Um.
And so I called
Here's
the
how you.
police
Okay.
on myself.
I learned how to deal with that when I learned about the BBB,
What's that?
the Better Business Bureau. So
Okay, tell me how to do it. Cause
they look, man. Companies respond.
wait,
They respond to the BBB. Like if you're having something up with any company, report they butt to the BBB. You'll get your money back. They'll call you and make it right. Like
really?
every time. Yeah. When I learned about that, and that's another thing is like you got to believe that you can come up with the solution. So I stopped getting mad at that too, right? So I have a huge belief that I can generally get to the other side of this. You know what I'm saying? So um
Oh,
whenever something happens, like and never get mad at the employees, right? They're just doing their job. So let me go ahead and talk to the person that can make the change.
mm.
You know what I'm saying?
So
So
you have developed a way to keep your peace all the way
yeah,
around.
yeah. And it's just by believing that I can win on the other side.
It's
Eh,
technically a godly principle. Look at you over here,
Hey,
um, living the word.
I'm trying to, but it
Oh,
works.
oh.
Like so, even when like I battled the court with that same system, with that same mind frame. So like I had to
Really,
like
and it
I went through
worked,
the custody battle. I went through the whole custody battle, right? The dreaded child support thing, right? I went through all of that and ended up getting full custody of my older two kids. But it's because I
right? Because
always
you said you had 4.
yeah. So I ended up with full custody of my older
Mhm.
two. But it's because I always thought like speak to the person that can make the change. 'Cause they run you through the ringer. They run you through all these processes that and only person that could make a judgment is the judge. So as long as you're not seeing a judge, as long as
Right.
the judge didn't tell you no, keep going until you see the judge. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to sit you
Mm,
in with a mediator, this mediator, that mediator, and them people are just doing their job. They don't know. It's like dealing with the paralegal. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
And so
I
you
would,
just
yeah. It was a long fight. Like it was a long fight. Took some resources, whatever. Um, but until I seen that judge, I wasn't stopping, right? Until I heard it out of the horse's mouth, I didn't care what anybody else said. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want the employee can't tell me, and I need the manager to tell me no. And if the manager gonna tell me no, I need the owner to tell
right.
me no. Like at that point,
So
that's when
you had
you know what I
faith.
mean? I guess, right? But I just needed to hear no by
Yeah,
the person that, you know what I mean, with the say.
right. But in a way, without realizing you were exercising faith. Like you were like, and you were not accepting other people's words or thoughts on the matter because you didn't hear from the judge. Like
Right.
what mattered to you was hearing from the person that could change your life. Like you get what I'm saying? Like all of
Yeah,
y'all can
yeah.
say whatever you think, but I need
I need to hear from yeah,
to
it's godly as heck, right? It's spiritual as heck for the most part.
Yeah,
Because until
right.
God say
That's insane.
you can't do it, then hey, I got a shot. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Like
So
I was that just tripped me out. That's interesting. Because for women, we worry. You know that, right? Like we will, if somebody says something to us and it's like a no, even if it's not the judge that said it, we are going to hover over those words
mm,
forever.
I mean you should. You should. You know what I mean? And you just don't get caught up in other people's no's. Wait till you hear the no
Mm,
from the person you need to hear no from
who
or
would actually matter?
yes. You know what I'm saying? Because the answer
Right.
I'm gonna move forward until I hear God tell me no or the judge tell me no, which is
Right.
essentially you understand. You know what I mean? So when the judge be like, nah,
Right.
you got to pay the child support, bro. All right, since you said it, I bet that's what I got to do.
But
But when the judge
yeah,
was like, well, what do you want? You
I
want
ain't
child support? And I was like, no, I wasn't thinking about it that far. I just didn't want to be on child support. He's like, well, no, you won this case, right? So she got to pay you child support, and whatever, however you else want to run it. And I was like, I bet, but I don't want anything, so I never pressed her for the child support. I never like,
that's that's really good. So you do a good co-parenting situation together then.
oh yeah, it's solid. Not them kids are old. They grown.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 and 18.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say you're not old. Oh, okay, but
started pretty
started
young.
young.
Yeah, but
Little
at this
dirty
point, I'm
nasty. Just
no, not really. I was just, you know what I mean. I was outside
lava lamps
shoveling
and silk
snow.
sheets.
Yeah, absolute facts. Lava lamps and silk sheets. I got a funny story.
I'm never
During the
gonna
first
forget
couple
that.
interactions,
Okay, I'm ready.
this is how young I was. During the first couple interactions, like we're doing a do, and I was like, you know what, make this situation better? Some cartoons, right? It turned on some cartoons and start watching cartoons. Yeah.
She should have known your age. And she was all good with it. Like,
No, no,
okay,
no. She
it's
was
a
hot.
cartoon.
She was like, "Did you just turn
Like,
the TV on?"
she wasn't okay with it.
No, she wasn't. She shut that down real quick. But that's when I definitely tried to turn on some cartoons. Cartoon Network,
Oh, oh my god.
Boomerang,
That was too good. That's too good of a story. Boomerang. Look, that's oh my
Boomerang.
god, that's
At
a
that.
good network too.
Yeah.
The silent cartoons, you know what I'm saying? They ain't saying nothing, but we know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what goes good right now? I just need some cartoons in my life. On the silk. Yeah.
Oh, on the silk. Lava
Silk
lamp.
sheets,
I'm
cartoons,
semi-grown.
getting it in.
Oh, okay. So let's get back on track. Okay. So you have two kids that you are raising currently right now that are younger.
Yeah.
Are you still go to church on Sundays? How are you teaching your kids? Like what
Um,
foundation are you raising them on?
well, I believe the Bible. Um, but I went to church for the first time in like 10 years on Easter.
Oh,
So,
recently?
yeah, yeah. But it's because of a guy I'm coaching with. He invited
Wait
us
a
to
minute.
church. Yeah.
Okay, explain. So now this is like explain. So we know you went through that transition. You been living biblical principles, but you hadn't been going to church. I see a little person. I see a little
Yeah, I
person.
know. Yeah. But so
That was
here's the
cute.
thing
I
with
was
that.
like, I
Here's the thing with that.
okay.
Once you read so when I went through that whole period, right, of getting
Mhm.
saved or whatever, I took it upon myself. I was like, well, if I'm gonna be a Christian, I need to know what this book says. So
Mhm.
like that that winter, that winter break, I didn't go home. I stayed in my apartment at school through the whole winter break, and I read the Bible from front to back. Now it took me a while to do it. It took me like 2.5 years to
Mhm.
do it. But that's where it started, right? So I just started pounding away everywhere. They were like, people would just try to discourage you, like, oh, it's not in chronological order, and but I throw people's stuff out the way. Like, I don't care about none of that. I'm reading this book the way I want to read it, and I read it from front to back, right? That's all I knew.
Right.
So I did that, and in that, I'm still going to church, and I was going to church, and when the preachers be preaching, I know the scriptures now. And when they're like saying things out of context or not using them right, I'm getting mad. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Yeah, 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 of course.
like it don't say that. It don't mean it like that. It means something else. Like what are you talking about? Why are you saying it like that? That's not the reference. Like you're out of context. So like I felt so often to want to go up there after church and be like, yo, why you say like, hold the pastor accountable? And I'm like,
Why
well,
didn't
you can't. Cause I
you
mean that's his house. That ain't mine. He been doing this. I read it for the first time. Like you should you've been up here. You went to theological school and like what I'm saying. I gotta be missing something because I'm new to this. I'm a babe in Christ at this point, right? So I'm taking it like that. And I'm like this dude's seasoned. So like who am I to be like, hey, this ain't what you're saying or whatever. So like I just stopped going to that church and I would go to other churches. And like, well, other churches is doing the same thing. And I'm like, yo, what is going on with these churches? So I just stopped going altogether. What I would do, like me and my friends, we would get together and like have Bible studies, like our own Bible studies. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? And it was just like our way of iron sharpening iron. And I got more out of those things than I did any of these other things, right? Because me and I mean, we was going at each
Right.
other. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this means this. Let's dive, let's go through these words. We all smart, we all educated. We gotta know something. Right? What you get from that? What you get from this? You know what I mean? And this is how in like
Mhm.
before I left, I'm from Pittsburgh, but before I left Pittsburgh, like we used to have it in my grandmother's house. You know what I'm saying? Because I was staying with my grandmother when I got out
Oh,
of college. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, I used to love when you used to have the guys over here doing the Bible study, this and that, right? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I built up those skills of really digging into the word that way with my friends because we would all just be going in. It would be the same guys that we kind of all had that truth behind hip hop, you know, thing or what, like you know what I mean. So us together understood where we're coming from and what we changed and why we're changing, and we wanted to keep that feeling going. So we're
right.
sharpening each other. And but as that became better than the church, because then like I said, you would go to church and you'd be like, dang, they're not saying this, they're not saying that, they're not saying all these different things. So I just stopped going to church and I would just like took it upon myself to read it on my own or to try to connect with my guys, and we had like a Bible study together type deal. But it wasn't the church wasn't the answer for me anymore.
I got
Now
you. So then, go ahead.
being out the church now, starting over in my parenting journey, essentially, right? I have a 6 and a 9 year old, and they come to me with these questions of spirituality. You know what I mean? They have some things, but then I realize how that they have so little of the basics that I'm like, dang, I need to take them to church just to help give me a platform for them to start
Right.
stepping onto. You know what I'm saying? Like I could debunk whatever, or I could
Yeah.
clarify, but for me to start from
Yeah.
nothing, the ground, you know what I mean? It's like, it feels like it's too much work.
You want to give them the foundation, like core Bible stories that we learned. Joseph, you know what I'm saying? Noah's Ark,
Right.
Abraham's covenant, Jacob and Esau, those type of things that we learned just in our little Bible school sessions, and
You're
then
right.
you can take it
And then I
over
can
from there
expound
with
on
just to
that.
give them.
Right. But as of like them knowing nothing, but they're asking the questions for sure. Because they watch like little stuff and it's everywhere. And it's really it really comes in different plays everywhere. And especially if you watch Disney movies with them, or you know what I mean? It's spirituality like the movie Soul. I don't know if you've seen that. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
have seen it.
right, but that's telling you that there's an afterlife and this and that, right? But they can really get confused about all these different things. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'm like, dang, I need to go to church just so they can start getting this foundation work. And with that, like I said, I could
yeah.
build on that. So
I used to be a Sunday school teacher, and so what I would do is take Disney movies and we'd watch the Disney movie, and then I would give them the biblical connotation, or show them what wasn't biblical in that Disney movie. So that's interesting that you said that. But I didn't use Soul. I used Inside Out. Do you remember that movie with the different
I
emotions?
love that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that movie too.
absolutely.
So yeah, definitely use that. So I do fully understand what you're saying with the foundations and allowing the church to do that. And because whether we realize it or not, it did something for us. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Absolutely.
wasn't the complete truth, but it did give us something. We were like, hey, that's not right. Like at least we knew, that don't
Yeah.
that's not
Yep. Yeah.
right. So with that being said, you haven't been to church, and I understand that the church is it's hard to find a church that really rightly divides the word. It is.
Right.
It is very hard. Do you feel like you found that recently though?
No. No. Absolutely not. And
Okay,
then on
I
top of
got you.
that, so even when I was going to church, I
Um,
always stayed away from the holiday services. I never went on holiday services because it's going to be for babes,
me
and I wasn't a babe
too.
at that point. What you say?
I said I do. I mean, I did too. Like even as a Sunday school teacher, I didn't teach those things. Like you get what I'm saying? Because it's not some of those holidays are not biblical.
Right.
You know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. But
like,
I mean, I'm talking about like
okay.
even like Mother's Day, right? So like I'm staying
Oh,
away from
we didn't
crowds.
go for
I
that
I, I
either.
didn't. I stayed away from the crowds because I knew the pastor was going to do something really really watered down because he has a multitude of people in the building that day. So it's not going to be for
And
me.
he wants tithes and offering.
Well, I don't. I mean, I'm not even looking to it that far. I'm thinking selfishly, right? This message is not going to be something I can get full off of.
That
I'm bet
that I like the way you think. You were like, this is not gonna season me, so I'm wasting my time.
right, right. So because of that, that's why, and that's kind of why, like going to church doesn't season me, so I'm wasting my time. But at this point, going to church seasons my children, just a little bit of seasoning, just a little bit of lemon pepper, right? So with that,
Yeah. But
it
you
helps.
see, that's
It helps me.
unselfish. You see, yeah. But
That's not
okay, so is it
unselfish
still being
because that's my
selfish?
lineage. They got my name. That's not unselfish. I mean, that's still very selfish. I need somebody to help me with my kids.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
get
So
it. Uh,
yeah.
I get it. Okay. I was just trying to see. I'm just trying to make sure I was like, well, you're being unselfish. And you're like, no, I'm still being selfish.
No,
And
I'm still being
because it's your
selfish.
kids,
Yeah.
you're like, you're right.
Right.
I understand. Okay. So, okay. You you grew up without a mom. God still
Without a
came
dad,
through
but
for
yeah.
you, which is so weird how he does that, right? Like, isn't it crazy how I just be like listening to people's testimonies and I'm like, we were in some jacked up situations, but like for some odd reason, I could see God through those situations, or at least having our back somewhere in the midst of those situations, right?
Hmm.
So if you talk to other young men who aren't growing up without a father, they don't have a father in a similar situation to that you are have went through, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them? Like, what do you wish you here we go. What do you wish you could have told yourself prior to, like, to your younger self? What advice would you have given to your younger self? There you go. What advice would you have given to your younger self?
Um, it's not that I needed advice. I needed an example, and I needed somebody to push me past my weaknesses. So
Mm,
it wasn't anything that anybody could tell me. It would have been I needed a complete investment into me
gotcha.
that's going to push me past my emotional boundaries, right? So one thing that when your kids have like tantrums with you or whatever, it's your job to get them to understand for you to handle them and to train them through those things. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
they're supposed to test you, they're supposed to throw these tantrums, they're supposed to, and you're supposed to take on the blunt force of that because when they get outside, they're going to be paying the max penalty for something they think they should slide on. You know what I'm saying? Which that's what happened to
Mhm.
me. Now when they do the simple
Mm,
stuff with me, um, they pay my penalty, and on the other end, it's through love though. It's not as harsh as going through juvenile detention centers and having to get that reality. You know what I'm saying? And so, but we could learn through love
yeah.
opposed to learning through trauma. So,
Right. Right.
I
I
wouldn't
agree.
necessarily tell my younger self anything. I would really just put somebody like me in my younger self's path. You know what I'm saying? So,
To help give them a better example. Like, because kids learn by example. They do. They absorb their environment more than they absorb anything. The people around them really
well,
do
there's
matter
that
how
too, and
a
I
kid
think
acts.
we got to believe it can happen, right? The reason why I'm an engineer is because I had an uncle who was an engineer. Um, and one day my aunt took me to his office, and it's the married like he's not biologically my uncle, but he married my aunt, right? So one day
Mhm.
she takes me to his office because I used to spend the summers with him, and I'm like, dang, what's he do? He got a desk, he got an office, and she's like, oh, he's a computer engineer. Now he wasn't even a computer engineer long, like because he ended up being like VP of finance or something like that. So he ended up getting into the financial sectors, but at that time he was a computer engineer. So I was like, I want to be a computer engineer, and it just always stuck. You know what I'm saying? I didn't pick another path. It was sports, then could be a computer engineer. Like I didn't pick another path. So, um, well, he did it, so that's what I could be, right? And it's only because I could touch that. I could touch
Right.
him. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I had people give me advice, but I didn't respect them. Like I didn't respect my grandfather that much. You know what I mean? My grandfather um suffered from, he was an alcoholic and he lived in the bar most of his life when he became my
Mm.
grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Like my biological dad and my dad were, well, my the guy I'm named after was in and out of jail for a lot and did drugs. My biological dad, he died early, but he died early because he did drugs. Like you know what I'm saying? So
Oh, wow. You like so even with the like you beat a lot. Like you're definitely a generational curse breaker if you look at it
oh,
because
facts.
you could have yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
for sure.
prototype, that's dope though. Like you're so calm about it. You're like facts. No, like that's a big. That's
I mean, we
hard.
passed because you
You
know what
know.
that is though. I could celebrate that, but where I'm at now, um, I
Hmm.
compete with guys who didn't have that don't live on curses, right? That weren't grown in that kind of environment. So now I have to. It's a double. It's like man, I could really be excited that I got here, right? But now that I'm here, how do I stay here? Because now I'm competing with guys who went to these major universities. I'm competing with guys who never had to go through the ADHD or the juvenile detention, or you know what I'm saying. I'm competing with a different level of guys, as if I'm normal like them, right? And I can't dare let them
Right. Yeah.
know where I. You know what I'm saying? Because you wouldn't know. You wouldn't
No,
even
I
know.
get it. I fully understand.
So
No,
I can't
I would have
necessarily
never known. Like
celebrate. It's
I
nothing to
get you.
celebrate because I now
Like
I'm here at this point. We're all here, so I gotta still push as if I'm them, even with
because you are
past
them
trauma.
though. Like but you to me, and I mean like this is just because I'm a female though. I would prefer to hear from somebody that I know, like you pushed through lots of trauma. You get what I'm saying? And you're in the room where you belonged because they may have the education, but you have like the education and the emotional ability to have made it past all generational blocks. That's a lot of stuff that you made it past.
It
Just
is a lot
FYI.
of
So but
stuff,
I'm just gonna give
but it
you
never goes away, right? So while I'm still dealing with all these emotional traumas and
mm,
blocks or whatever, they are not dealing with this, so they could be way more efficient. So it's still a battle than I can be.
dang, I didn't think about it like that. It doesn't ever go away.
It never
It
goes
really
away. You just learn how to deal with it. Like when people get HIV, they don't die from HIV. They die from a cold.
yeah,
They mess around and
yeah,
end up with chickenpox again. You understand what I'm saying? They got
right.
chickenpox when they was kids. Your body learned how to handle it. Now they get HIV and their T cells go to a level where they can no longer fight off the chickenpox they got when they was 7 years old. And it came back, and I don't know if that's
Right.
the true science behind it, but you understand where I'm going.
No, you're right. You got it. You got it. So yeah, you're right. You're right. And I didn't think about it. Like it doesn't ever go away. Because even just talking to my son a little bit before, I was talking about different types of trauma, and it doesn't because in my mind, similar to you, I'm in the room with people that didn't have to go through those things, right? And so they don't have to battle those traumas with each level up. You get what I'm saying? Because your mind, you're like, okay, all right, you here now, but you want to be here too. Don't sabotage yourself, right? Or don't you feel yeah, yeah, you're
We
right.
talk about this on
You're
Prototype Dad
right.
all the time. It's like we go through our days. How many people you know that's been killed? Right? Probably endless amounts, a lot, as well as I, right? And it's like, I remember one day, uh, something had happened, like there was like a mass shooting or something like that, and I'm at work, kind of bothered at it, and my manager looks at me and was like, "Hey, this is like 10 years ago." He's like, "Hey, is everything all right with you?" And I'm like, nah, some stuff happened at home. This is happening, blah 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 blah. I know some people that got shot. Just trying to hear back, see if everything's all right, this and that. And he's like, this is a 50-year-old man, right? And he's like, man, I don't know anybody that's ever been murdered like that, that's been shot. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, nobody I've ever come across has been shot. So they don't, they, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't deal with the that kind of stuff like we do, and we're supposed to like
No, not at all.
pick up and move on with all this stuff on our hearts, all this stuff on our minds, and still like live on throughout the days of, you know what I'm saying? Still do our tasks, which I mean, that's what we all deal with, but all is that's what we all deal with. So it's kind of
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's an interesting situation when you look at it. But I didn't think about like what you just said until you just said it. Like we it never stops. But we
never
have to
stops. Yeah.
function like it does.
We have to function like, yeah. So it's just one of those things, man. We fight, we
Okay.
battle.
I know, but I just wanted to say, like you definitely are a generational curse breaker, and that's pretty dope to me because you could like your life could be really jacked up.
Oh yeah.
You could be a baby
I
daddy out here in these streets, like
I
like you know what
never
I mean, like one of
imagined.
those. One of,
Listen, I live a tremendous life. Like tremendous. Like I never thought I would travel where I've traveled. I never thought I would live where I live. I never thought I would drive what I drive. I never thought I'd be married to a married. I live a tremendous life. Like it's like my kids are amazing. Like you know what I mean? Like they know nothing of anything I've ever. I'm none of that. Like I live a wonderful. I it's crazy. It's crazy. Like the things I do. You know, I drive boats. Like you know what I'm saying? Like this stuff I do. Like I it's crazy. So I don't know many people living like I live, and I'm grateful for it. And
mhm.
I get stuck like, man, what's left for me to do? Because I've done so much more than I've ever dreamed of. So
Right.
I don't know what to say.
You got a lot to do. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other things you could do, like like what you did the other day on the panel. You gave that whole testimony, and I was like, "What does change look like?" That was like so inspiring for me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute,
Yeah,
no such
yeah,
thing." So what else is there to do? Now is take that and sow that into kids that are living that life like that you had and don't see anything greater. Now they can look at you and be like, "Hey, I don't have to be a basketball player either. I don't have to be really into sports. I can be a computer engineer and
right.
that could be my possibility." You know what I'm saying? Which is dope. That is dope. Just FYI,
Yeah, and I mean,
you'll
even with
speak to
that,
some
right?
cool.
I've started youth camps where I taught kids how to code. Um,
Okay.
so not only do I coach them in sports, I coach them in coding. I started youth programs. I've done all that. I've given back multiple ways. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's really crazy, man. And God is you just gotta let him be him. You know what I mean? And it's like
Let
I
it be
said,
him.
yeah, just let him be him and keep moving, be optimistic, and keep moving forward.
That's dope. So, what do you want the viewers to take from your story, from your testimony? Like what view, what perspective do you want them to look through after hearing, your story?
I guess it's don't stop until the judge says no.
That's so good though. Like it's true.
Speak to the judge. You know what I'm saying? Like
Speak to the judge.
speak to the judge. And if there's
Don't
a
stop
higher
until
judge
the
of
judge
him,
says no.
yeah, if he don't say nothing
Yeah.
you like, if there's somebody
No,
above him, go to the next judge up. Like just go as high as you
that's
can
what I'm
go
talking
until
about.
you hear the answer you want to hear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If there's nowhere else to go, then that's the answer. But go all the way up until you know what I mean, and go over their
until you get the
head
answer you want.
until you get the answer you want.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope. So tell I like that. No, I think I'm gonna take that advice too. Because sometimes I take no for the answer from other people rather than from the higher up, right? So there's only like a couple times where I've been like, no, you have no authority to tell me no. I'm gonna wait till somebody, the real person
Don't get mad
say,
at the employees.
you have no
Never get
authority.
mad at the employees. Let the people do their
Yeah,
job. But you know what I'm
talk to your
saying? Like
manager.
even I love it when they be like, I would like they'll tell me an answer like I'll be on the bill collectors and they'll be like, yeah, they're gonna tell you the same thing I just told you. I said, that's fine. I still want to hear from them anyway. And then they escalate you and then they give you all kind of, oh yeah, we'll give you this off and that off and oh that was my fault, blah blah blah. Yeah, you know what? Had the next 6 months off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so even when they be like, oh, they're gonna tell you the same thing I'm telling you, that's cool. I just want to hear them tell me.
Right. And then they transfer you and
They
you get a
they
different
transfer you and
answer.
they throw the house at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, no, can you transfer me to your
We're
manager,
so
please?
sorry. We're
Yeah,
so sorry
that's
that
it.
we did that. So, okay, so you said that you still do the coding, like the coding situation,
I
like
haven't
teaching
in a
leads how
while.
to
No,
code?
that was a few years ago. But
Okay. So I was gonna say, well, because yeah, I was gonna say, how can people support you, your podcast, the things that you do? What can they do? Tell them your info.
man, come over to Prototype Kingdom podcast over on YouTube. We're on TikTok, Instagram, all this, all the platforms, man. And just like, subscribe, click, you know what I mean? Share the content. We got some pretty good content over there where we basically just talk about how to make the best decisions in life, as mentally, as men. We bring ladies on often as well too. We do got an episode called Prototype Mom, and it was just a panel full of ladies, and they just went over about how to be the best mom they can and what kind of mom they need to be. So
That's
for
dope.
right now, that's what we got, man. Just come over, yeah, like,
Yeah,
share, subscribe,
and support.
and support. The rest will work
What
out later.
right? Well, I don't want you to leave quite yet, but I'm going to pull you out and close. And
Okay.
so I appreciate your testimony and your time, and I'm sure that everybody else is going to appreciate it too, because you give, a hope, right? And so, like right now, which is interesting, my son wants to be a computer engineer. So
Oh yeah,
he went
I give him some resources. How old is he? 16.
16.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I got it. I
So I
got it.
thought that was dope that you said that. So do not leave and let me close out and tell the people bye for the evening.
All right, yeah.
All right, you guys, that was Prototype's testimony. And I hope that you go over to Prototype Kingdom podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Peace out, y'all.